Okay, let's talk about the problem of the day. Be sure to answer the questions that I ask out loud and think about how your work is the same or different from what we talk about together. Remember, you are brilliant. Your way might be different than what we talk about. That doesn't mean it's wrong. As long as it's clear, it's got labels, and it's accurately representing the problem. What are we being asked to find in this problem? Say it out loud. Right, the amount of money that the 5 friends spent all together at the movies. And so to answer that, what are we going to have to know? Say it out loud. Yeah, we have to know the amount that each individual person spent. And so we're going to have to add the cost of their tickets and their snacks. All right, so how many questions do we have to answer to solve this problem? And what are they? Say them out loud. Right, there's 2 questions. What is the amount of money that all 5 friends spent altogether? And how much did each individual person spend? So some story problems have more than one question that we have to solve, and we call those 2-step story problems. I captured that down here in our visual anchor to help us remember. So the big question is what the problem is asking us to find. What is the big question in this story problem? Say it out loud. Yeah, it's how much money the 5 friends spent altogether. And how could we represent that? Say that out loud. Yeah, there's a lot of ways we could represent it, but no matter what, they all have to show the amount that the 5 people spent individually being combined to find the total amount. So I'm going to note this as big because it's the big question representation. I'm going to use a tape diagram. So we know there's 5 friends. So I'm going to have 5 boxes. I'm going to put an S in each box. Sorry, S. And this should say 5 friends, right? And then each S is the amount each individual spent. And if we combine those, I'm going to put A, right, for amount altogether. All right, great. What's the little question that we have to answer in order to answer this big question? Say it out loud. Right, how much did each person spend individually? Once we know that, we can combine those amounts to find the amount altogether. Okay, how can we represent that little question? Say that out loud. Yeah, there's a lot of ways we could represent, but no matter what, it has to show the $7 for the tickets and the $5 for soda and snacks being combined to find the total amount that each individual spent. I'm going to label this the small. You might also call it the little question. So we're going to have 7, that's the tickets, plus 5 for snacks. And that will tell us S, right? Or the amount the individual spent. Great. So this is how we handled two-step problems in second grade with separate representations, right, for the big and the small question. And I'm wondering if there is a way that we could actually represent both the big and the little question using only one representation. And if so, how? Go ahead and say your answer to that question out loud. Yeah, there's actually a lot of ways you can do it, right? So one way that we're going to talk about here is to take the same tape diagram. We still have 5 people in the problem, right? But instead of a variable for the amount each individual spent, we could put 7 plus 5 in each of the 5 boxes because each person spent 7 plus 5. We're still going to label this as 5 friends. Combining that is still going to tell us A, right, or the amount altogether. And then 7 plus 5, that's still the amount each individual spent. INDIVI, sorry. Working on my spelling. Okay, great. So, either way we represent, either as 2 separate representations or 1 combined representation, when we go to solve, what do we have to do first? Say it out loud. Yep, first we answer the little question, and then we use that answer to help us solve the big question. So, our little question is 7 plus 5, that equals 12. And then we can take either 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12, which is the same as 12 times 5. And that is $60 total, or altogether was the amount that was spent. All right, so when we're thinking about tackling two-step story problems, what can we ask ourselves to help make sure that we successfully represent and solve? Say it out loud. Yeah, we could ask, what is the big question that I'm trying to solve, and what little questions must I figure out first?